Hi everyone, and welcome to The Sleepy Scientist. I'm really happy you're here. Tonight, we're going to go on a calm and quiet trip to learn something amazing. So get comfy, take a deep breath, and let's enjoy this peaceful science story together. Before we start, tell me in the comments, where are you watching from and what time is it for you right now? If you like relaxing science videos, don't forget to tap the like button. Now let's begin.
At night, when the world quiets and the trees hush their leaves, look upward. Not just with your eyes, but with that wondering part of you that still believes in rivers made of light. Up there, stretched across the sky like a soft silver ribbon, lies the Milky Way, not just a cluster of stars, but a home, a cradle, a gentle river of time. This river doesn't rush. It doesn't roar. It meanders slowly like a dream spilled across space. If you could float in silence for 1,000 lifetimes, you might drift through its arms, past suns that burn gold and red, past clouds of ancient dust where stars are still being born. It's a spiral galaxy, they say, but to the heart, it feels more like a lullaby, spiraling softly through the dark. Long ago, people named it after milk galacticos, the Greek called it, a milky path in the heavens. Some cultures said it was the smoke of a divine fire. Others whispered it was a road for souls. But today, with our telescopes and equations, we know it's a collection of over 100 billion stars, bound together by invisible threads of gravity, gently swirling like leaves in a slow eddy. Imagine you could float above it, far beyond its edge. The arms of the Milky Way would stretch out like petals, each one filled with suns and planets and dust, like a flower blooming in space, ever so slowly. You'd see that we're not at the center, but gently tucked into one spiral arm called the Orion Arm, about halfway from the core to the edge. We live in the suburbs of this galactic city, not at the heart where stars are packed tightly and blaze fiercely, but in a quieter, softer neighborhood. Even here, stars move. They orbit the center of the galaxy, pulled by the soft gravity of everything around them. But they move slowly, so slowly that it takes our sun about 230 million years to make one full trip around the galaxy. That's right. Our solar system has only made a few galactic orbits since the dinosaurs walked the Earth. The stars above us are not frozen. They are drifting, swirling, flowing like lanterns down a gentle stream. And we, tiny as we are, drift with them, held gently in this river of stars, pulled by unseen hands. Every night sky is a snapshot of motion, caught mid-glide. What looks like stillness is really a dance, stretched across millions of years. The dust between the stars is part of the story too. It dims some of their light, but it also glows faintly, scattering the brightness, giving the Milky Way its soft, smoky appearance. If you're ever far from city lights and the sky is dark and clear, you might see that glowing band. You might feel for a quiet moment that you are floating too. Now picture the center of this river, the galactic core. It's dense, glowing with old stars packed close together. And hidden deep in the center, behind thick veils of dust, lies something strange and powerful, a supermassive black hole. Sagittarius A. It's not a monster, not really. It's just a place where gravity becomes so strong that not even light escapes. And somehow its quiet pull helps hold the galaxy together. Somehow the same force that lifts a falling apple on Earth also keeps billions of stars in orbit around an invisible center. This is the wonder of gravity, not just a law, but a whisper through the cosmos, a gentle tether between all things. There are stars being born in this galaxy even now. Clouds of gas, cold and slow, collapse under their own weight. In the silence of deep space, they begin to glow. A star is not born with a bang. It glows into being like a candle finding its flame. And then slowly planets may form around it. Dust circles dust. Pebbles kiss and stick. Moons and oceans and atmospheres may follow. So we are not only drifting in the Milky Way. We are growing with it, part of its breath, part of its flow. Close your eyes and imagine riding this current, not in a rocket but in a dream. The earth spins softly beneath you, and above the stars whisper their slow secrets. You are part of that whisper, part of that ancient story. Tonight the river still flows, unseen by most, unfelt by many. but it is there holding us, guiding us, and softly shining through the dark. Now let's drift deeper into the river's heart, into the winding arms of the Milky Way, where the science becomes softer, more like the rhythm of breath than the certainty of numbers. Every part of this galaxy holds a secret, a silent story, a quiet, endless pull that links even the farthest stars. And perhaps the most extraordinary thing is how it all fits together, not like a machine, but like a song. You might think of the Milky Way as a still photograph, hung in the night. But truly, it is more like a murmuring tide, moving so slowly that only time itself can feel it. The stars flow not in straight lines, but in elegant spirals, following invisible paths shaped by dark matter, a kind of ghost that holds the galaxy in its arms. We cannot see this dark matter, cannot touch it, yet we know it's there by its tug, by how it helps stars move as they do. It's like watching leaves spin in the wind, and knowing the breeze must be there, even if it stays unseen. And within this spiral, life has bloomed, not just on Earth but perhaps elsewhere too, waiting quietly in some golden cradle of another star. Astronomers speak of exoplanets, world-circling stars across our galaxy. Thousands have been found. Some are gas giants puffed up and wild. Others are rocky and small like Earth, hugging the warmth of their suns. These are places we cannot yet touch, but we can imagine. Perhaps they have oceans and winds and a sky full of unfamiliar stars. Perhaps someone, somewhere, is looking back. This sense of connection, of being part of something vast, is not just poetic. It is written into our atoms. Every element inside you was made in a star. Your bones were forged in ancient furnaces. The calcium in your teeth, the iron in your blood, the oxygen in your breath, all were born in stars that lived and died long ago. Some exploded in supernovae, scattering their glowing ashes across the galaxy. And from those ashes, new stars, new planets, new lives took shape. So when you lie beneath the Milky Way and feel something stir, something tender and ancient, it's not your imagination. It's memory. It's recognition. You come from this galaxy. You belong to it in the deepest way. Even now, stars are still ending their lives. Some fade softly like a lantern going out. Others go in fire. A supernova is not a violent death. It is a generous release, a gift. The end of one life becoming the seed of countless others, and the waves of that explosion ripple out, pushing and stirring the galactic dust, shaping clouds where new stars will one day begin. It's all a cycle, a quiet, endless spiral of birth and return. The Milky Way doesn't hurry, it has no clocks, no alarms, only gravity and time and light. In the spaces between stars, where light barely reaches, lie great nebulae, clouds of gas and dust, floating like ghosts. They stretch for light years, and inside them, newborn stars sparkle like fireflies in fog. The Orion Nebula, the Eagle Nebula, the Horsehead, these are the nurseries of light. In them, hydrogen sings itself into flame, and the night learns how to shine. But these clouds are fragile too. A single beam of strong light, a solar wind, a nearby star, any of these can tear them apart. So they drift and shift, endlessly changing. They are like thoughts half-formed, ideas becoming real. Then there are the globular clusters, dense knots of stars, bound tightly together, orbiting the galactic core like tiny moons. Each one holds hundreds of thousands of suns, packed into a space only a few light-years wide. They are old, older than most things. Like quiet elders at the edge of the galaxy, remembering times we can't imagine. Their stars are redder, cooler, slower, but they shine on. And scattered across the Milky Way, between all these marvels, are cosmic rays, tiny messengers from distant corners, racing through space at nearly the speed of light. Most pass through you without a trace. But now and then they strike in your body, your bones, your skin. And in that moment, for just an instant, a piece of the galaxy touches you. Time flows strangely in the Milky Way. A second here might feel eternal out there. As we orbit the galactic center, we also spin on Earth, and the moon orbits us, and the sun carries all of it like a boat down this great cosmic river. It's motion within motion, circles within circles like eddies in a stream, all guided by gravity's invisible hand. Yet even in this vastness we can measure. We can chart the distances between stars, map their spectra, trace the curves of their orbits. The science is precise like the strings of a harp, but to feel it, to truly feel it, you must imagine it with more than just facts. Imagine with your breath, with the hush of a forest, with the slow unfolding of a fern. Because the galaxy is not just out there, it is also inside you. The particles that built your brain once belonged to stars. The hydrogen in your blood is nearly as old as the universe. So you do not merely live in the Milky Way. You are asterisk it in the most literal way. And perhaps when you look up and feel small, what you're really sensing is the opposite, that you are large, vast, ancient beyond words. That inside your silence is the echo of every star that ever lived. So tonight listen, not with your ears but with that still part of you that waits in the dark. Listen for the soft rush of stars drifting, the distant hum of spiral arms, the gentle river that holds you. It is still flowing, always flowing, and you are floating in its arms. Now let the final part of this journey unfold slowly, softly, like the fatting echo of a lullaby. You've wandered through starlit arms and dust-laced clouds, through clusters and currents and unseen hands that hold galaxies in place. But there is still something gentle waiting at the edge of this spiral. The understanding that even the vastest things can feel intimate, even the cosmos can feel like home. Far beyond the familiar stars, past the quiet pull of the Orion arm, the Milky Way stretches toward its edge. Here, the stars thin out, scattered like grains of sand at the shoreline of the sea. The light dims, the darkness deepens, yet even here where so few eyes have wandered, the galaxy continues its quiet work. Small dwarf galaxies drift nearby, some merging slowly with ours, soft collisions that take billions of years. These are not violent battles, but quiet gatherings, like rivers joining in the night. This too is part of the Milky Way's secret flow, a story not of stillness but of evolution. The galaxy grows not with sudden leaps but with the slow rhythm of gravity's breath. Stars are pulled in, dust reshaped, motion redirected. Over eons, the shape of the Milky Way has changed and will change again. The spiral may become more curled or unfurl like a fern. One day, far in the future, it will meet another spiral, the Andromeda Galaxy, and the two will merge, not with fire but with grace. A new shape will form, a new rhythm, a new river. And still the stars will shine. Even now our instruments pick up whispers of this cosmic future. Radio waves hum with signals from galactic edges. Infrared light glows from the heat of starbirth. X-rays pulse from the remnants of exploded suns, all of it flowing toward us, carried on invisible winds. The night sky is not silent. It is singing in frequencies too soft for ears to hear. Yet your body listens. Every atom inside you vibrates with ancient memory. The protons in your cells have journeyed through stars, through nebulae, through time itself. You are made of this galaxy, of its dust and its storms, its light and its silence. You are not simply a visitor. You are native to this spiral river. You are a note in its ongoing song. Somewhere right now, in a dark, quiet observatory, a telescope turns toward the night. A scientist adjusts the lens, breathes in the stillness, and captures light that has traveled for thousands of years. That beam of light left a star long before cities rose or books were written. And now it touches a lens, a hand, a thought. This is the magic of looking up, not just seeing, but catching time as it drifts softly through space. We study this galaxy not just with machines, but with wonder. And wonder is what carries the science home. The math explains the orbit, the maps trace the spiral, but it is wonder that lets us feel the drift, the pull, the deep poetry of it all. The Milky Way is not a cold thing. It is a cradle, a clock, a memory made of light. There are children born every day beneath this sky, their first breath taken beneath stars they cannot yet see. They will grow up in the arms of this galaxy, held by its gravity, circled by its time. They may never touch the stars, but the stars are already within them. And perhaps one night they will look up too and feel the hush of something ancient move quietly inside them. You do not need to go far to travel the galaxy. Every thought that lingers on a star's glow, every breath that pauses beneath moonlight is part of the journey. The spiral turns and you turn with it. The night flows and you flow within it. One day the stars we see now will be gone, their light faded or transformed. But new stars will rise, new dust will settle, new dreams will form. The river will keep moving, endlessly folding into itself like music. So let the Milky Way be your lullaby. Let it rock you with the slow swing of its arms. Let it whisper through your sleep that you are not alone, not forgotten, not adrift. You are exactly where you belong, nestled in the spiral of stars, carried by a current older than memory. Tonight the sky may look the same, but it is not. You are different now. You carry the river within you, and when you close your eyes you can feel it, the secret flow of the Milky Way, the hush of stars in motion, the gentle pull of gravity's love. Sleep now, starlit traveler, the river will carry you. There is a hush beneath everything, a silence so ancient and so deep that it shapes the stars and stirs the oceans. That silence has a name: gravity. It does not shout. It does not flash. It only pulls slowly, steadily, with the patience of eternity. And through its quiet tug, the universe moves like a dancer across a darkened stage, tracing spirals and orbits that last a lifetime or more. Gravity is the soft choreographer of the cosmos, guiding planets, stars, and galaxies through a dance as old as time itself. From the smallest pebble to the largest black hole, everything that has mass feels gravity's hand. It's not a push, not a force like fire or thunder. It's more like a constant invitation, a whisper saying, "Come closer." This gentle call is why the moon circles the earth, why the earth orbits the sun, and why the sun itself spins slowly around the heart of the Milky Way. Every celestial body is held in a dance it cannot see, moving to music it cannot hear. Isaac Newton once imagined an apple falling, and from that fall he glimpsed a truth that reaches far beyond orchards or earth. That same pull that drew the apple down is what keeps the planets in their orbits. Gravity doesn't just hold things down, it holds them together. Without it, stars wouldn't shine, galaxies wouldn't form, and time itself would lose its rhythm. Gravity is not just a law, it is the very shape of harmony in space. Imagine now that you are floating in a dark sky, watching the solar system spin. The planets dance around the sun not in straight lines, but in graceful ellipses, stretched circles, soft and slow. They never speed wildly, never dart away. Each path is measured, carved by the delicate balance between motion and gravity. Too fast and a planet would fly off into space. Too slow and it would tumble into the sun. But just right and the orbit holds year after year like a lullaby that never ends. Even the tides on Earth, the soft rising and falling of the seas, are the result of gravity's distant touch. The moon tugs on the water as it circles the planet, and the oceans lean toward it, then away. Day by day, the waves swell and settle, not by chance but by the moon's quiet request. Gravity is there, even in the sea foam on a sleeping beach, even in the hush between waves. Now drift outward beyond Earth, beyond even the solar system. Imagine two stars circling each other, locked in an ancient embrace. This is a binary star system, and it is more common than you might think. In these systems, gravity holds the partners close, making them spin together, bound across light years. They may never touch, but they influence one another constantly, like a pair of dancers who always move in rhythm. In some corners of the galaxy, gravity pulls clouds of gas into knots. These knots become denser, tighter, until pressure and temperature rise, and then a star is born. The process takes millions of years. There is no hurry, only the slow agreement between matter and gravity. This is starbirth, a glowing promise made by time and weight and heat. And once a star forms, it shines by the same force that made it. The same gravity that shaped it also holds it steady, balancing the outward push of light with the inward pull of mass. Stars do not live forever. When their fuel runs low, gravity plays a final role, sometimes soft, sometimes strange. Smaller stars may gently collapse into white dwarfs, glowing faintly for billions of years. Larger stars might go supernova, shedding their outer layers in a final blaze of color and sound, then collapsing into neutron stars or black holes. In all these endings, gravity is present, guiding the shape of the star's farewell, pulling light inward or releasing energy outward. It is the unseen hand in every transformation. Now picture the black hole, gravity's most mysterious creation. Here, the pull is so strong that nothing, not even light, can escape. But a black hole is not a villain. It is simply the place where gravity has gathered so tightly that the fabric of space folds inward. These are the quietest objects in the universe, yet also the most powerful. Some lie at the centers of galaxies, including our own. There they anchor everything around them, invisible hearts beating beneath the stars. What is gravity, really? Scientists call it a force. Einstein saw it as a curvature in space-time, mass bending the fabric of the universe, like a stone resting on a sheet. Whatever the model, the truth remains. Gravity doesn't just act on objects. It shapes the stage they move on. It bends the rules of time and space, creating paths and arcs and spirals that last forever. It's easy to forget gravity. We live with it every moment. It keeps our feet on the ground, holds our buildings upright, carries raindrops from sky to soil. But if you pause, if you lie back beneath the stars and let your thoughts rise, you might feel it as something more. A connection. A soft, unbreakable thread that ties everything to everything else. Tonight, as the earth turns and the stars drift across the sky, know this. Every motion you see, every orbit you imagine is part of a slow, silent dance. The galaxy does not rush. It turns with care. It moves with meaning. And you, your breath, your heartbeat, your body resting under the sky are part of this rhythm. You are part of gravity's slow and endless waltz. Let's drift deeper into gravity's quiet hold, where galaxies swirl and time stretches softly around massive hearts of light. Gravity is not just a downward pull. It is a tender invitation, guiding stars and shaping space itself. The more we listen, the more we find that every part of the universe is tuned to its subtle call. Across billions of light years, galaxies spiral not with chaos, but with grace, following patterns as gentle and persistent as breath. Each galaxy, from the smallest dwarf to the largest elliptical, is a story of gravity's quiet weaving. The stars within them are not scattered randomly. They flow in curves, in arms, in rhythms. The Milky Way spins gently, its stars orbiting the core like dancers in a slow, unwinding circle. That rotation is not constant everywhere. Stars closer to the center move faster, caught in a tighter gravitational pull. Farther out, the stars drift more slowly, yet still held by invisible strings made of mass and motion. If you could stand still and watch a galaxy turn, you would see a living spiral, not frozen but flowing. And yet when scientists mapped these galactic motions, something strange appeared. The stars at the edges were moving faster than they should, as if something unseen was tugging them along. This mystery gave rise to the idea of dark matter, a kind of invisible gravity. We cannot touch it, cannot see it, but we feel its effect. It acts like a hidden skeleton, giving shape and stability to the galaxy. Without it, the stars would drift apart, but with it, the dance holds together. This idea is humbling. Most of the mass in the universe may be something we cannot see, yet it holds us all the same. We are surrounded by mystery, guided by an unseen force that keeps everything from falling into stillness. Dark matter doesn't flash or burn, it simply pulls. Quietly, steadily, lovingly. Imagine now a cluster of galaxies, bound not by ropes or chains, but by gravity's soft net. These clusters contain hundreds or even thousands of galaxies, all drifting together through space. Their paths are not hurried. They take billions of years to cross a single span. Some galaxies may collide, their stars intermingling in a slow, celestial waltz. But even these collisions are not violent. The vast spaces between stars mean that most pass by without touching. Gravity guides them through one another like ghosts. And what of time? Gravity touches time, too. Einstein showed us that the stronger the gravitational pull, the slower time flows. Near a black hole, time drips like honey, stretching seconds into ages. On Earth, we barely notice, but it happens. Clocks tick more slowly at sea level than on mountaintops, where gravity is weaker. This is not fiction. It is fact. Time bends in the presence of mass. And so every mountain, every planet, every star is shaping the tempo of time itself. We live in a universe where space and time are not rigid. They are pliable, shaped by gravity like clay in unseen hands. The fabric of space curves gently around planets and stars, creating the paths that objects follow. This is why planets orbit the sun, not because they are pulled by invisible threads, but because the space around them is curved, and they are following the easiest path within it. The Earth doesn't fall into the sun because it is always falling, just sideways, at the perfect speed to miss the sun every time. Think of gravity, then, not as a force pulling down, but as a shape, a curve, a cradle. Every step you take, every leaf that falls, is following a path through curved space. You are not simply being pulled. You are flowing along a valley carved by mass. And yet gravity is also fragile. It is the weakest of the fundamental forces, far weaker than the electricity that runs through wires or the strong force that binds atoms. But it acts across infinite distances, never stopping, never fading completely. It is the most patient of the forces, the most constant. It does not need to shout because it is always there. When a star dies in a supernova, the explosion sends ripples into space, not just in light or particles, but in gravity itself. These ripples are called gravitational waves. Only recently have we been able to detect them. Like the surface of a quiet pond disturbed by a single pebble, space itself trembles when massive objects collide. We have felt the shiver of black holes merging, of neutron stars spinning into one. And from those tremors we learn. We listen. The universe has a heartbeat, and gravity carries the sound. And so we orbit on and on, the Earth around the sun around the galaxy around some greater unseen center. There is no edge to this dance, no final step. Gravity ensures that the song continues, slow and unending. And in that song you are a note, soft, irreplaceable, resonant. Close your eyes and imagine it now. Not just the stars above, but the pull beneath your feet, the slow tug of the moon shaping tides and dreams, the vast curve of the sun's gravity holding the planets like pearls on a string, the deeper curve of the galaxy folding time into spirals. You are within all of it, held, balanced, loved by physics in a way that feels like poetry. So let yourself sway in this cosmic rhythm. Let gravity be not just a concept, but a comfort. It will not drop you. It cannot forget you. You are part of its endless embrace. Let us now float gently toward the quiet closing of this tale, not with urgency, but with the calm weight of gravity itself. We've traced the spirals of galaxies, listened to the tides of stars, and felt the breath of black holes in the fabric of space. Now, as the dance slows in its final turn, we begin to understand. Gravity is more than a force. It is memory, connection. A silent thread that weaves every particle, every planet, every person into one vast, unfolding story. Even in stillness, gravity acts. When a snowflake settles onto the forest floor, when a tear slips down a cheek, when dusk gathers in a sunbeam, gravity is there not as a command but as an invitation downward. And beneath that downward pull lies something deeper, belonging. Everything that moves through space is drawn toward something else. The earth leans into the sun. The moon bends toward the earth. And your body, though small among stars, is never alone. You are held, always held. Look again to the galaxy. From above, it swirls like cream in dark coffee, luminous arms circling a dense, mysterious center. Each star follows its path, not because it knows where to go, but because gravity remembers. It remembers the shape of space. It remembers every mass, every motion. This is why the stars move the way they do, not randomly, but as part of a memory written into the very curvature of the universe. Even at the largest scales, gravity draws structures together. Beyond our Milky Way, other galaxies drift in groups and clusters, bound by the same slow magnetism. These galactic gatherings stretch into filaments, long bridges of light and shadow that form a kind of cosmic web. Between the strands lie dark voids, vast, quiet spaces where little stirs, and yet even there gravity hums. It is the gravity of what is not seen that shapes what is. Imagine that you could step back far enough to see it all. The stars, the galaxies, the clusters, the filaments, all dancing in an immense slow swirl. The universe is not expanding like an explosion. It is stretching gently the way breath moves in and out. Galaxies drift apart not because they are fleeing but because space itself is growing. And yet, even in this expansion, gravity clings. Some galaxies fall toward each other, destined to meet in the future, like the Milky Way and Andromeda. They will merge, not in fire but in flow, their stars blending over billions of years into a new shape, a new spiral. And through all of this, gravity carries the rhythm. It does not need to speak, it simply continues, quietly, relentlessly, faithfully. There is comfort in this persistence, in knowing that no matter how far we go, we are still connected to each other, to the stars, to the invisible curves that shape our paths. Gravity holds the memory of the cosmos and the shape of the future. It has no face, no voice, and yet it touches every moment. When a spacecraft leaves Earth, gravity tugs at it, slows it, bends its course. But we have learned to work with this pull, not against it. Scientists call it a gravity assist, using a planet's motion to sling a probe farther, faster, with less fuel. This is not escaping gravity. It is dancing with it, listening to its rhythm, moving in harmony. Even your body, so small compared to mountains or stars, shapes the space around you. Your mass curves spacetime ever so slightly. You are part of the architecture of the cosmos, contributing to its form. In some infinitesimal way, the universe leans toward you, just as you lean into it. And now, feel the gentleness of gravity in your breath. The way your chest rises and falls is tied not only to lungs and air, but to the gravity that gives your body weight, that anchors your bed to the earth, that connects your skin to the soil. The same force that guides galaxies helps you sleep. It pulls the ocean tides and the eyelids closed. When you close your eyes at night, you are not falling into nothing. You are falling into gravity's embrace, the Earth's slow holding of your body, the moon's distant lullaby, the galaxy's spiral cradle. You are surrounded by motion that seems still, by stillness that is deeply moving. And in the very end, gravity does not vanish. Stars may fade, galaxies may stretch thin, and the universe may cool, but the shapes carved by gravity will remain, like footprints in sand. Even in a quiet, distant future, the curves and memories of movement will persist. So sleep now, knowing you are never outside of this force. You do not have to understand it fully to belong to it. You are part of gravity's slow dance. You are a participant in the universe's oldest ritual: to fall, to orbit, to drift, to return. Gravity will hold you. It always has. It begins with something small, not stars or planets, but particles, fine, delicate, drifting specks of matter, cosmic dust. To the eye, it is nothing, barely there, a whisper of a thing. But across the vastness of space, these tiny grains become the soft threads from which galaxies are woven. They float between the stars, unseen by most, glowing faintly when touched by light. And yet, though they seem silent and still, they are always moving, carried by hidden currents, pulled by unseen winds, shaping and reshaping the universe in their quiet way. Cosmic dust is older than memory. It was born in the hearts of dying stars, forged in the last breaths of giants. When a star like the sun swells into a red giant and sheds its outer layers, the gas cools and solid particles begin to form: carbon, silicates, metals. These grains drift outward, carried on stellar winds, until they join the interstellar medium, the space between stars, filled with gas, magnetic fields, and dust. And it is here, in this in-between place, that the universe breathes. To us, dust is often something to wipe away, an unwanted film on a windowsill, but in space, dust is sacred. It is the raw material of worlds, the seeds from which planets grow, the gentle veil that dims starlight and paints the sky with soft glow. Without dust, there would be no nebulae, no planets, no us. If you were to glide through a nebula, say, the Orion Nebula or the Pillars of Creation, you would see vast clouds of dust and gas, sculpted by radiation and gravity. Light from nearby stars pushes on the dust, nudging it, shaping it into columns, arcs, waves. These are the hidden currents. Photons, tiny packets of light, have pressure, and when they strike dust, they transfer energy. This is called radiation pressure, and it moves dust through space like wind through sand. Slowly, patiently, always. There is another force at work, too: magnetism. The galaxy is threaded with magnetic fields, soft and sprawling, stretching across hundreds of light years. Dust grains, especially if they contain iron, can align with these fields like compass needles. They spiral and drift along the lines, tracing invisible patterns. Scientists have mapped these motions using polarized light, the kind of light that scatters and reflects in special ways when it bounces off aligned dust. In this way, we can see what we cannot touch. And this motion is not random. It is a kind of choreography. Dust flows through the spiral arms of galaxies, collects in clouds, clumps into filaments. It moves toward places of gravity, gathers into disks around young stars. And in those disks, the quiet miracle begins. Dust sticks to dust. Tiny grains collide and cling, forming pebbles, then rocks, then planetesimals, the building blocks of planets. This process is slow beyond imagining. It takes millions of years for dust to become a world, but time in the cosmos is patient. A single grain might drift for eons before joining something larger. And yet, every rock, every moon, every mountaintop began this way, from dust, gathering silently in the dark. Even in our own solar system, dust is everywhere. Comets trail dust as they approach the sun, leaving behind streams that become meteor showers. Asteroids shed particles in collisions, adding to the zodiacal dust cloud that glows faintly along the plane of the ecliptic. And in the upper layers of Earth's atmosphere, tiny bits of interplanetary dust fall every day, soft star-born grains landing on rooftops and oceans and skin. You may have walked beneath a sky dusted with the breath of a comet and never known. Cosmic dust also plays with light. It scatters blue wavelengths and lets red ones pass, tinting the sky of distant planets, reddening the glow of stars seen through thick clouds. It creates reflection nebulae, places where starlight bounces off dust and creates a soft, ghostly shine. And it hides things, too. The center of our galaxy is veiled by dust, blocking visible light, but allowing infrared to pass. With special telescopes, we can peer through this fog and glimpse the crowded heart of the Milky Way. The presence of dust is both an obstacle and a gift. It makes seeing harder, but it also makes forming possible. Without it, stars might burn more fiercely, but planets might never take shape. Dust cools gas, allowing it to collapse and form stars. It protects fragile molecules. It slows the rush of light. It gives space its texture. And so these drifting grains, each no larger than a speck of ash, become architects. They shape the paths of light. They whisper where stars will form. They carry the elements of life across the galaxy. Dust grains can trap molecules on their surfaces, fostering chemical reactions that form water, alcohols, and even amino acids. These dust-laden molecules ride comets and meteors, perhaps sowing the seeds of life across the stars. Imagine a single grain of dust, born in the collapse of a red giant, wandering for billions of years, collecting frost in the cold of deep space, swept into a disk around a newborn star, caught in the gravity of a growing planet, and finally buried deep within its soil, only to be uncovered by a being who looks up and wonders where it all began. That being is you. So when you see the night sky and notice its soft shadows, its silver haze, remember the dust, the quiet dancers, the hidden currents. They are not just between the stars, they are part of you, in your lungs, your bones, your blood. You breathe them. You are made from them. The universe is not distant. It is inside you, grain by grain, whisper by whisper. And the dust still moves, carried by light, by gravity, by time. A quiet tide that never rests. Let us drift now through the places where dust gathers thick and deep, where it swirls and settles, and where quietly the seeds of entire solar systems are born. We are no longer just floating through empty space. We are wandering through nurseries of stars and archives of forgotten things. The currents that carry cosmic dust are not like rivers or winds on Earth. They are slower, softer, guided not by weather but by the whispers of gravity, light, and magnetism, shaping the very foundation of the cosmos. One of the most poetic truths of cosmic dust is how it holds the past. Each grain carries within it the memory of a dying star, a supernova's final breath, or a red giant's last gentle sigh. These tiny particles are like time capsules, storing the fingerprints of their creation, the chemical elements forged under intense pressure, the temperature of the gas from which they condensed, even the radiation that has brushed against them across millennia. And as they travel, they gather more. Layers build upon layers, like sediment at the bottom of a quiet sea, until each grain becomes a small world of its own. In some places, these grains cluster together into vast clouds called molecular clouds, dark, dense regions in the galaxy where light cannot pass. These clouds can stretch across hundreds of light years, weighing millions of times more than the sun. Within their folds, dust and gas intertwine, cloaking themselves in cool darkness. It is in this hidden shelter that new stars begin to form. Dust helps the gas cool enough to collapse, pulling inward until gravity takes over. Then, in silence, the first light begins to stir. But even as stars are born from dust, the dust never stops moving. Young stars are messy creatures. Their light and heat push against the surrounding material, sending out shockwaves, jets, and radiation that sculpt the clouds around them. These forces carve caverns and pillars, creating the iconic shapes we see in telescopic images, arches and fingers, wings and spires. What we're seeing is dust caught in the act of becoming, reshaped by the light it helped create. Around many of these newborn stars, disks of dust and gas begin to swirl. These protoplanetary disks are flat and wide, like golden halos glowing in the darkness. The dust within them orbits, collides, sticks. Over time, clumps form. Pebbles become boulders. Boulders become planetesimals. And eventually, the dance of dust gives rise to planets. Some of these planets may become rocky, like Earth. Others may gather gas and grow into giants. But all of them, every moon, every mountain, every drop of water begins with dust. Even after planets form, dust continues its quiet work. On Earth, the tiniest grains in the atmosphere reflect sunlight, cool the climate, and seed the clouds. Space dust constantly rains down upon us, filling the sky with meteors and adding layers to ice caps and lake beds. It has shaped our history and our soil. The very first stars created no dust. They were pure, made only of hydrogen and helium. But once they died, they gave birth to heavier elements, to carbon and oxygen, silicon and iron. And from those, dust was born and everything else with it. In the space between stars, dust forms long, invisible rivers. These are known as interstellar filaments, tendrils of material that stretch across light years. They are shaped by magnetism, by gravity, by turbulence. And along these filaments, stars tend to form like pearls along a string. It's as though the universe uses dust not only as a building block, but as a blueprint, a gentle guide for where new light should emerge. Sometimes, when two galaxies collide, their dust clouds crash together, compressing gas and triggering bursts of star formation. These events, called starbursts, create thousands of stars in just a few million years. The chaos leads to creation. The dust, instead of vanishing, becomes more active. It flows, stirs, thickens, and the result is beauty beyond imagining. The collision may last for hundreds of millions of years, but it always ends with new shapes, new stars, and new dust, ready to begin again. The dust also holds secrets in its light. When we look at distant stars and see their spectra, the rainbows of color split by prisms or instruments, we notice slight dimmings, narrow gaps, telltale signs of dust in the way. These signs let us measure what we cannot see directly. We learn how much dust is there, how it's moving, what it's made of. Even the dimmest galaxies, wrapped in dust, reveal themselves to us through these quiet clues. And yet, as vast and powerful as cosmic dust may be, it is also delicate. A single particle can be destroyed by heat, shattered by collisions, or eroded by radiation. Some dust grains last for only a few million years. Others survive for billions. Some may find themselves swept into stars and melted again, repeating the cycle. Others may lie dormant in a frozen comet, waiting for a star to pass near and awaken them with warmth. There are places in our solar system, like the rings of Saturn, where dust dances openly, forming intricate patterns shaped by gravity and moons. These ring particles may be icy or rocky, small as sand or large as mountains. Yet even here in this visible ballet, the principles are the same. Dust responds to forces we cannot see. It moves in harmony, guided by the balance between mass and motion. And so, wherever you look in distant nebulae or in the light from a setting sun, dust is there. It gathers in corners, flows through shadows, drifts through dreams. You may not see it clearly, but you can feel its presence. In the blush of a pink sky, in the streak of a meteor, in the sparkle of frost on a window pane. Cosmic dust is not a nuisance. It is a messenger, a builder, a keeper of stories too ancient for words. And it continues its journey, slow, silent, eternal, across the hidden currents of space. Now let the final threads of dust settle softly around us, not with weight but with wonder. We've wandered through starlit clouds and followed invisible rivers, felt the breath of stars and the quiet pull of unseen hands. And in all of it, from the smallest grain to the largest nebula, dust has moved with purpose. It has drifted not aimlessly but as part of a larger rhythm, a cosmic cycle, a slow, tender pattern of becoming. Dust does not just form worlds, it remembers them. Ancient grains recovered from meteorites tell us stories of other stars, long gone, their ashes trapped inside rocky shells. These pre-solar grains, older than our sun, are still here, resting in the heart of a stone, waiting to be found. Some carry isotopes not found naturally on Earth, silent echoes of stellar winds, supernova explosions, and red giant size. They are evidence that the dust we see in space today is not new. It is ancestral. And you reading this are part of that ancestry. The calcium in your bones, the carbon in your skin, the iron in your blood, all of it came from dust. You are not separate from the cosmos. You are made of it. Every cell carries the fingerprint of a star. And long after your body returns to the earth, the atoms will drift again, taken up by new forms, a tree, a raindrop, a breeze, perhaps even a distant planet. You are the dust that thinks, that dreams, that loves. Cosmic dust also connects us across time and space. Light from the earliest galaxies is filtered through ancient clouds, colored by their presence. We see those distant galaxies not as they are now, but as they were billions of years ago, their light softened by the dust it passed through. Even our understanding of the universe's origin, the faint afterglow of the Big Bang, is shaped by how dust has scattered and absorbed that ancient light. It tells us where the first stars formed, how galaxies gathered, how the universe became what it is. And still the dust moves. In the far future, our sun will expand into a red giant and release its own cloud of dust. That dust will join the interstellar sea, perhaps to one day become part of another world, another story. This is not an end, but a continuation. Dust is not final. It is always beginning again. Even black holes, those great cosmic mysteries, may play a role in dust's journey. Around them, in swirling accretion disks, matter is heated and torn, and yet some dust survives, ejected in jets or outflows carried far into space. These violent births and quiet survivals are both part of the same truth, that dust endures, that it adapts, that it flows. And while we often think of dust as alone, it rarely is. Dust and gas dance together, light and shadow, heat and cold. Everything in space is relational, connected by invisible lines of force and time. A single grain may travel for billions of years and never collide, and yet still be shaped by every star it passes, every field it crosses, every whisper of energy that brushes past. On Earth, the presence of dust is familiar though rarely noticed. It coats forgotten shelves. It gathers in sunbeams. It floats in the air you breathe. And while much of it is of earthly origin, skin, pollen, ash, some small fraction is not. Micrometeorites fall from the sky daily, adding cosmic dust to rooftops and riverbeds. If you've ever walked in the rain, touched a leaf, held a pebble, you've touched space. You've cradled time. Scientists search for this dust in ice cores, deep-sea sediments, and desert sands. They sift through the world to find fragments of other worlds. And when they do, they don't just find particles. They find questions. Where did this grain begin? What star gave it birth? What journey brought it here? These questions don't always have answers, but they don't need them. The wonder is enough. The dust speaks in silence. And there are moments, quiet, personal ones, when you feel that presence without instruments or charts. Standing beneath a clear sky, watching the Milky Way spill overhead, you sense the texture of the universe. Not smooth, not sharp, but soft, like velvet, like ash, like breath. That texture is dust. It dims some stars, brightens others, colors the sky in ways subtle and sacred. It is always there in the background, shaping what you see and feel. So now let the story settle. Let the dust fall gently in your mind. Know that in every direction, across every distance, it flows, hidden, constant, ancient. It is the script the universe writes in, the parchment on which galaxies are drawn, the ink of becoming. You are not outside of it. You are within it. Close your eyes and you can almost feel it, the slow drift, the soft tumble, the gentle ride through time. A cradle made of stars and ash. A silence filled with memory. The hidden currents that never sleep. And when you open your eyes again, may you see differently. May you notice the glint in a sunbeam, the shadow in a nebula, the whisper in the wind, for all of it is part of the same flow. The dust is still moving, and you are moving with it. Light travels far, but memory travels farther. When we speak of starlight, we speak not just of photons, those tiny flickers of energy that journey through the dark, but of time itself. Every beam of light you see from a star is a message from the past, a whisper that has wandered for years, centuries, sometimes eons before touching your eyes. The light that falls gently onto a sleeping meadow or dances through the branches of a midnight forest is not of now. It is ancient. It is remembrance in motion. Imagine looking at a star tonight. Perhaps it twinkles just above the horizon, soft and quiet, like a candle in a vast cathedral. That star may be 30 light-years away, or 300. Its light began its journey before your memories did. Long before your heartbeat, before your first breath, before your parents dreamed of names, that beam of light left its surface and began the long passage toward you. And now, after drifting alone through the vacuum of space, it arrives to be seen, to be known, to be felt. That is not just science. That is something sacred. Starlight moves in straight lines, but its path is shaped by gravity. It bends near massive objects. It slows when climbing out of deep wells of space-time. It scatters when it touches dust, changes color as it crosses distance, and carries within it the fingerprint of its source. We read light not only as brightness, but as information. Every wavelength tells a story, of temperature, of composition, of distance, of velocity. Scientists call this spectroscopy. But you might call it starlight's memory, for within each beam lies a history too vast to speak. A star is not just a ball of fire. It is a furnace, a laboratory, a storyteller. Deep within its core, hydrogen fuses into helium, releasing light. That light fights its way outward, bouncing through countless atoms, taking perhaps 1,000,000 years to reach the surface. Once free, it speeds through space, 8 minutes from Sun to Earth, 4 years from Alpha Centauri, 2 million from the Andromeda Galaxy. All that time, the light remembers its origin. It carries the touch of the star that gave it birth. And when it finally reaches you, it touches not only your skin, but something deeper. A sense that you are being looked at by something eternal, that the sky is not distant, but watching, that you are part of a gaze that began before memory and will continue long after you are gone. This is not imagination, this is truth. Even in the smallest candle, we see the echo of stars, for the process that lights the night sky also lives in flame. In every photon, there is a trace of fusion, of heat, of transformation. And that transformation speaks of time, of change and persistence. When you see starlight, you are seeing not what is, but what was. You are receiving a moment that has passed, preserved perfectly in motion. This delay means that every star you see may already be changed. Some may no longer burn, some may have exploded in silence, and yet their light continues on, unaware of what followed, delivering a version of the past that still shines. In this way, the sky becomes a living archive, a museum without walls, a record not of words but of radiance. And what's more, starlight touches everything. It touches leaves and oceans and stones. It warms the feathers of a bird, glints on the wing of an insect, lingers on the windowsill of a sleeping home. It ripples through water, dances across ice, paints clouds in colors no brush could mimic. The sunrise, the moonbeam, the silver path across a lake, all are starlight, softened and scattered, singing without sound. Some stars pulse. They brighten and dim in cycles steady, rhythmic, predictable. These are variable stars and they keep time like a clock. We use them to measure distance, to trace the expansion of the universe, to understand the structure of galaxies. Their pulses are like a heartbeat in the darkness, a steady rhythm that echoes across millions of light years. When we study them, we are reading the tempo of the cosmos. Other stars orbit each other in pairs, their light shifting back and forth as they move. Some spin so fast their surfaces blur. Some erupt with flares and storms, releasing light in bursts. And in each variation, we find a different kind of memory, not static, but alive, evolving, reshaping. There are places where light is trapped. Inside black holes where gravity becomes a wall, not even starlight escapes. Yet around these edges, in the event horizon's soft blur, matter heats and glows. We see the light just before it disappears. The last message, the final note, a starlight's farewell. And there are stars that go supernova, vast explosions that send shockwaves of light racing across galaxies. These are not only bright, they are informative. Their patterns help us measure space itself. Their brightness tells us how far away they are. Some of the most distant galaxies were first noticed because of such a flash, one final blaze from a star that had burned for billions of years. So even in death, starlight remembers. Even in silence, it speaks. Now imagine holding out your hand in the night, palm open to the sky. You may feel nothing, but starlight is touching you. Ancient photons born in distant furnaces are landing on your skin unnoticed, gentle but very real. You are being reached, not by magic but by memory. This connection is not rare, it is constant. The stars send their stories without pause. We live bathed in their messages, wrapped in their presence. And though we may not always understand their language, we carry their light within us. Literally. The energy of the sun powers the food we eat, the plants we grow, the warmth we feel. We are starlight walking. And so when you next step outside at night, take a moment. Let your eyes adjust. Let your thoughts quiet and feel what is truly there. Not emptiness, not cold, but memory. A soft wash of light that has traveled farther than your mind can stretch just to meet you. Just to say, you are not forgotten. You are not alone. You are part of what remembers. Let us go deeper now into the quiet heart of light's memory, into the places where it lingers longest and speaks the softest. When we gaze into the stars, we are not only seeing light, we are seeing time itself stretched into a golden thread. The sky becomes a diary of the universe, its pages written in brightness and shadow. But the beauty of starlight is not just in what it shows. It is in what it holds, the record of becoming, the memory of change. Every photon that leaves a star travels outward in all directions, unblinking and tireless, unless absorbed or scattered. Some strike dust and are softened. Others bounce off clouds or disappear into the quiet coolness of a comet's trail. But many make it, passing through the thick and the thin of space, slipping past gas, skipping through fields of radiation. They travel with purpose, even if they have no mind. They carry truth, even if they say no words. They are messages in a bottle, drifting not through water but through time. Some of the oldest light we've ever seen comes from the edge of the observable universe, the cosmic microwave background. It is not the light of stars, but the first light, the afterglow of creation itself. When the universe was just 380,000 years old, it cooled enough for atoms to form, and in that moment light was released. That light has been stretching ever since, expanding with space, cooling as it travels. Now it is no longer bright, it is a soft whisper in the microwave spectrum, barely detectable but everywhere. We are bathed in it. It is older than stars. It is older than galaxies. It is the memory of the beginning. But not all memory comes from ancient times. Some starlight remembers what happened yesterday. Satellites and observatories orbit Earth, capturing light from supernovae that went off just weeks ago. Telescopes reach into the X-ray and infrared, collecting the echoes of things still unfolding: a star shedding its skin, a planet passing in front of its sun, a black hole stirring the gas around it. These are fresh stories, unfolding even now, their messages just beginning their journey to us. Some will take years to arrive. Others are already here, waiting in the sky. When we look at the spectrum of a star, its fingerprint of colors and lines, we can learn what elements it contains. Hydrogen, helium, carbon, iron. But we can also learn its temperature, its age, its motion. Whether it spins fast or slow. Whether it is growing older, growing larger, nearing the end. The light holds all of it, coded in waves and absorption lines. To the untrained eye, it is only glow. But to those who listen, it becomes a story of billions of years, written in the language of light. And the stars themselves do not shine alone. Their light bounces, reflects, refracts. A planet near a star may catch some of its light, sending it back toward us, dimmed, softened, but present. From this reflected light, we can learn about atmospheres, surfaces, even weather. We've seen storms on exoplanets, temperature shifts, clouds of gas and ice, all from studying how starlight changes as it passes by. The light remembers where it's been. In some special cases, the gravity of a massive object like a galaxy cluster bends the path of light from something behind it. This is called gravitational lensing. The light curves, forming arcs or multiple images. We see galaxies duplicated, stretched, mirrored. It is not distortion. It is truth seen through the lens of gravity's embrace. In this way, even the path of starlight carries memory of the terrain it has crossed, the weights it has encountered, the time it has lost. But perhaps the most touching truth is that starlight doesn't care who receives it. It goes in all directions, quietly, faithfully, without demand. Most of it never meets a planet, never touches a surface, never enters an eye, but still it travels, still it shines. It is not waiting to be seen, it simply is. And when we do see it, when we catch even a tiny fragment of that long journey, we are not just witnessing physics, we are participating in the memory of the cosmos. We are opening a letter written before our time. We are holding in a moment the light of another world. Sometimes the starlight we see comes from stars similar to our own sun, quiet, yellow-white, steady. Other times it comes from giants, blazing blue or red, living fast and dying bright. There are stars that flicker with flares, that breathe in pulses, that shed layers like old coats. There are stars caught in the grip of companions, stretched into teardrops, spilling their light unevenly. Each of them is unique. Each light is a signature. And we, down here on this turning world, catch their beams on cameras, on lenses, on our own open eyes. We bottle their glow in data, store it in archives, trace its patterns across digital skis. The science is precise, but the feeling is human. To see light that began before the pyramids, before the first written word, and to know that it chose this night to arrive is to feel awe. We also send our own light now, radio waves, laser pulses, spacecraft beacons. We are writing our story into the sky, adding our flickers to the endless dance. Perhaps one day, some distant eye will see us the way we see the stars, as a shimmer in the darkness, as a clue to something warm and thinking. Our light, too, will travel. Our memory will join the river. And even if no one ever sees it, it will still go, because that is the nature of light. So next time you lie beneath the stars and see them blink above the trees, think of the journey, of the time each photon carried, of the star that gave it life. You are not just looking up. You are looking back across years and ages into the bright echo of everything that came before. And in that starlight, the universe remembers. Now let us come gently to the closing edge of this tale, where the oldest light meets the quietest thought, and starlight does not just shine, it stays. It lingers in memory, in matter, in meaning. The journey of light is not just one of distance but of connection. For every photon that completes its voyage, every beam that slips into an eye or a telescope or a mirror, something happens. Something changes. A truth is received. A silence is illuminated. And that moment, even if fleeting, becomes part of you. Because starlight is not forgotten once it arrives. It is absorbed, transformed. It warms the ocean, feeds the leaf, powers the breath of 1,000 living things. A single beam from the sun may enter a chloroplast in a green leaf, sparking photosynthesis, a process that feeds the tree, the animal, the air. That light becomes glucose, becomes energy, becomes motion, becomes life. The same is true for other stars, other systems. Their light, too, may spark life, in forms we do not yet know, in places we have not yet imagined. Some of that starlight is captured in crystals, locked in minerals, held inside rocks that wait deep underground. It is stored in the slow heat of stone, in the shimmer of sand, in the fossils of creatures long gone. Scientists use radiometric dating to measure the memory held in rocks, the time since they last cooled, the last moment they absorbed a burst of light or energy. Even after billions of years, the light leaves its trace, a ghost of presence, a signature of time. In a distant way, starlight also shapes stories. The myths of ancient peoples were born from stars, from the constellations drawn in their paths, from the rhythms of their appearance, from the patterns of their light. Orion was a hunter, the Pleiades were sisters, the Milky Way a river, a road, a trail of spirits. The stars were calendars, guides, companions. They gave meaning to seasons, to harvests, to birth and death. And all of that began with starlight arriving faithfully, night after night. Today we use different words, but the awe remains. We speak of redshift, parallax, exoplanets, magnitude. We map the sky in pixels and spectra. But even through the precision of science, the soul of the stars remains unchanged. They still call to something inside us that is older than language, something that recognizes without needing to name. And the more we learn, the deeper that recognition becomes. We now know that our sun is middle-aged, that it will burn for billions more years before expanding, shedding its outer layers and leaving behind a white dwarf. That white dwarf will continue glowing with memory, not as a star, but as a monument to one. Its light will grow dim, but the story will remain, drifting through space, mingling with dust, joining the silence. Perhaps that is the most beautiful truth of all, that even after light fades, its path remains. The journey is never truly erased. The light that touched your face today will scatter, reflect, bounce, fade, but its effects will ripple outward, becoming part of other things. Just as your gaze upward, your awe, your wonder, leaves a change behind too. You are affected by the light. You are shaped by it. And so the night sky becomes not only a vault of stars, but a library. Each point of light is a book opened in silence. Some chapters are being written now. Some ended long ago. Some may never be read, but all are part of the same vast archive, written in radiance, bound by gravity, whispered through the vacuum of space. It is comforting to know that stars continue to shine even when we're not watching, that they give freely without condition, that their light falls equally on cities and deserts, on oceans and mountaintops, on children and elders, on all who lift their eyes. The light asks for nothing. It simply arrives. And if you've ever had a moment, even a single heartbeat, where you looked up and felt something move in you, something wordless and still, then you've received it. The memory, the message, the starlight. Because light does not just move through space. It moves through you, through your eyes, through your thoughts, through your breath. You are in every sense illuminated. And even now, as you rest, as your body quiets and your thoughts slow, the stars continue to send their soft messages. They continue to write. You may not see them. You may forget their names. But the light will find you. It always does. So let the sky stay with you tonight. Let the photons of long-traveled light settle gently in your memory. Let the stars that burned long before you were born offer their quiet gift, not in sound, but in presence. They have waited so long to arrive. Let them rest in you now. And when you sleep, may you carry that light into your dreams, a golden thread of remembering, stitched quietly into the fabric of everything. Because when starlight remembers, it remembers you too. There are shapes in the universe that seem to speak a deeper language, forms that repeat themselves across scales, from the tiniest whirl of water to the vast arms of galaxies. The spiral is one such shape. It appears in the curl of a fern, in the shell of a snail, in the eddy of smoke rising from a candle. And far above, in the endless sky, the spiral takes its grandest form, the galaxy. Not chaotic, not random, but ordered, breathing, alive. The Milky Way is a spiral, and it breathes in the dark. Imagine floating far above it, as if the stars had let you go just long enough to see their arrangement. You'd see a bright central bulge surrounded by swirling arms, each arm a river of stars, dust, and gas, stretching outward like the arms of a soft pinwheel. They don't spin quickly. They turn with patience, needing hundreds of millions of years to complete a single rotation. Yet from this vast, deliberate movement comes stability, rhythm, and life. A spiral galaxy like ours doesn't just spin, it pulses. The spiral arms are not fixed objects. They are waves, density waves, to be precise, moving through the disk of the galaxy like ripples in a pond. As they pass through, they compress gas and dust, triggering the birth of new stars. This means the arms are always glowing with young, hot blue stars, even as the older stars drift slowly outward. It's not that the stars themselves stay in the arms, they move through them, like cars on a traffic jam that forms and dissolves. The spiral shape is a moving pattern, not a static structure, a breath, not a bone. And this breath can be felt in everything it touches. Within the spiral arms lie the building blocks of worlds, nebulae rich with hydrogen, carbon, and dust. Here, stars are born in cocoons, wrapped in the very material that will one day form their planets. The arms act like cradles, nurturing the conditions for complexity. Earth, too, was born within one of these arms, and even now our sun orbits gently within its grasp. As the sun makes its slow journey around the galactic center, it weaves slightly up and down, like a boat on a great wave. This oscillation is not random. It reflects the subtle interplay of gravity within the galactic disk. Some scientists believe that this vertical motion may influence life on Earth, perhaps even subtly altering the cometary paths from the outer solar system, or changing the dust that reaches our planet. The galaxy breathes, and we feel it, not in days or years, but in epochs. Between the spiral arms are quieter regions, the interarm zones, filled with older stars, thinner gas, cooler dust. These are the resting places, the memory corridors of the galaxy. The spiral arms are where the drama unfolds. The spaces between are where time slows and records are kept. Both are necessary. Without the arms, the galaxy would lack energy. Without the spaces, it would lack structure. The dance depends on both. The core of the galaxy, the bulge, is different. It is dense, crowded with older stars that orbit in more random directions, less organized than the disk. Deep within this core lies Sagittarius, a asterisk, a supermassive black hole with a mass millions of times greater than the Sun. Invisible to the eye, yet central to the motion of everything around it, it anchors the spiral, not by dragging or devouring, but by existing. Its gravity shapes the galactic heart, and from that heart, the spiral breathes outward. Spirals are not unique to the Milky Way. They are everywhere in the universe, in Andromeda, in Whirlpool, in Pinwheel, in Sombrero. Each spiral galaxy has its own character, the tightness of its arms, the brightness of its stars, the amount of gas and dust it contains. Some are barred spirals like ours, with a central bar of stars stretching through the bulge. Others are more open, more diffuse. But all share the same signature, a sense of flow, of rotation, of quiet creation. And this spiral form is echoed elsewhere. In hurricanes, in galaxies colliding, in magnetic fields swirling around neutron stars, in the spiral paths of charged particles caught in the sun's wind. Nature seems to favor this shape, not because it is beautiful, though it is, but because it is efficient. Spirals are how energy moves, how systems grow, how space breathes. Even in DNA, the spiral returns the double helix, the winding ladder of life. In seashells, we see logarithmic spirals growing outward with each turn. In the golden ratio, in the sunflower seeds, in the curl of a wave. The spiral is not just a shape. It is a principle, a rhythm, a truth written into the structure of existence. So when you look up and see the faint haze of the Milky Way stretching across the sky, you are seeing the edge of a spiral arm seen from within. You are inside the breath, inside the swirl, inside a galaxy that has turned only a few times since Earth was born and yet has held together with perfect grace. You are not separate from it. You are of it, spun from the dust of its turning, born from the clouds it formed. And the spiral continues. Slowly, softly it breathes, its arms unfurl, its stars move, its memory deepens, and within it you drift, a small consciousness inside a vast, spiraling dream. Now drift deeper into the spiral's slow unfolding, where time moves like syrup and every motion tells a story. The galaxy does not spin like a rigid wheel, it moves like a fluid, a slow ripple across a vast canvas of space. Each star, each cluster, follows its own gentle path around the center, taking hundreds of millions of years to complete a single orbit. Yet even in this long silence, the spiral form persists, not as a fixed sculpture, but as a pattern that regenerates with every turn. It is alive not in speed, but in continuity. This is not a dance of chaos, but of memory. The spiral remembers where it has been, just as it invites what is to come. Its arms are not fences but invitations. As matter drifts into these denser lanes, it is changed, compressed, warmed, stirred into motion. Here in these swaths of higher density, stars ignite. The blue giants, bright and brief, appear like sparks on the edge of a wave. Behind them follow the yellows, the reds, the long-lived suns that will carry planets, atmospheres, and maybe even life. Each spiral arm becomes not just a nursery of stars, but a possibility of futures. And between these bursts of creation lie the corridors of pause, the interarm regions where stars age and planets evolve, where the light grows softer and the dust begins to settle. These spaces are not empty. They are quiet, reflective. They are the time between heartbeats, the breath after the song. The spiral knows the value of stillness as well as motion. Some stars born in the arms will never return to them. They will drift outward, slowly carried into the halo of the galaxy, that ghostly cloud of stars that surrounds the bright disk. In this outer realm, ancient stars orbit in wide ellipses, untouched by the drama of the spiral core. They are like elder watchers, preserving a more primal memory of what the galaxy once was. Some of them are so old they predate the arms themselves, formed in the earliest epochs of the Milky Way's assembling. Others never had a home in the spiral at all. They came from outside, remnants of smaller galaxies that once merged with ours, their stars absorbed, their dust blended. The spiral is not closed, it receives, it transforms. Over billions of years, the Milky Way has eaten dozens of such galaxies, and each time its shape changed slightly. Its arms warped, its core thickened, its halo grew richer with stars from other skis. Even now, it continues, drawing in dwarf galaxies like Sagittarius, slowly stretching them apart, adding their stories to its own. In this way, the spiral does not only breathe, it listens, it collects, it remembers. At the center, the bulge pulses with gravity, anchored by the black hole we call Sagittarius A. Though it is invisible, its presence is known. Stars near the center race around it at breakneck speeds, tracing tight orbits in years instead of centuries. Some of these stars have been mapped for decades, their motions revealing the immense mass hidden in darkness. And around this gravity well, the spiral arms emerge, not in sudden coils, but in slow, widening arcs, as though the galaxy were opening its hands. But what causes the spiral arms to stay? Why don't they twist tighter, blur apart, or vanish into the disk? This was once a great mystery. If stars moved like paint on a spinning wheel, the spiral would blur quickly. But the secret lies in the nature of spiral arms as waves, not made of the same stars, but made of motion, like a traffic jam on a busy road. Cars enter and exit the jam, but the pattern holds. So it is with the arms. Stars enter, slow down slightly, brighten with youth, then drift onward. The arm stays. The pattern breathes on. And so the spiral becomes more than a shape. It becomes a rhythm, a system that guides, nourishes, and evolves. It is not a blueprint but a process, one that fosters the creation of light, the movement of dust, the unfolding of time. And like all processes, it reflects something deeper, the balance between order and change. Even in its vastness, the spiral has structure. There are arms with names Perseus, Sagittarius, Scutum, Centaurus, and our own Orion spur. These names help us map the stars, but they also help us find our place. Earth lies not at the center, nor at the edge, but in between, a quiet vantage point from which to observe the swirl. From here, we look outward and inward, seeing both the arms that stretch before us and the heart that glows behind. And there are moments when this structure feels tangible. During a clear night far from city lights, the Milky Way becomes visible as a broad ribbon across the sky. This is the edge-on view of our spiral, a cross-section of the disk we call home. In that stripe of light, you see millions of stars, all moving, all orbiting, all participating in the galaxy's breath. It is not a distant place. It is the structure that holds you. The spiral extends further than light reveals. Beyond the visible stars lies a halo of dark matter, invisible mass that helps bind the galaxy together. It is this hidden component that prevents the arms from flying apart, that keeps the stars in their orbits, that shapes the breath of the spiral. Though we cannot see it, we know it is there. It is the quiet scaffolding of motion, the unseen rhythm beneath the stars. And perhaps that is the deepest truth of all, that what breathes in the dark is not only light but shadow, not only presence but mystery. The spiral is a balance of both. It shines and it hides. It moves and it waits. It spins and it holds. Within its arms lie both the answers we have found and the questions we have yet to ask. So the spiral turns on, slowly, patiently, silently, a breath of stars stretching across the night, weaving time into form, memory into motion. And you, perched on a small planet in a quiet arm, are carried with it, enfolded in its rhythm, shaped by its turning. You are part of the spiral's breath. Now let us follow the spiral to its outermost edges, where light grows thin and the night deepens into quiet mystery. The arms unwind slowly, like threads loosened from a great loom, and in their wake drift stars and dust, gas and memory. Here, the spiral breathes out its final note, not in silence but in a hum too low for ears, too wide for maps, a gentle exhale of the galaxy's vast, invisible song. At the far ends of the galactic disk, stars become sparse. The spiral arms lose their sharpness, growing fainter, more diffuse. Yet even here, where the glow is softest, the pattern persists. The arms continue, stretched thin across space, reaching toward the dark matter halo that encircles the galaxy like an unseen shell. We cannot see this halo, yet we know it holds the spiral together. Without it, the galaxy would unravel, but it does not. It turns, it pulses, it breathes, not in spite of the dark, but because of it. And from these outer regions, we glimpse the connections between galaxies. The Milky Way is not alone. It belongs to a larger structure, the local group, a collection of galaxies gently bound together by gravity. Nearby lies Andromeda, another great spiral on a slow, inevitable path toward us. In billions of years, the two will merge, and their arms will entwine, forming a new shape, a new breath. This cosmic embrace will not be a collision of destruction, but of change, of reformation. The spirals will dissolve, but the stars will remain, orbiting in new patterns under new gravity, in a new rhythm. This, too, is part of the spiral's memory. It does not cling to its shape. It evolves. Spirals do not last forever. Over time, their arms grow dim, their gas is consumed, their stars grow old. They may become elliptical galaxies, round, smoother, quieter. But within them, the spiral's story lives on in the stars that were born in its arms, in the dust that once danced along its curves, in the planets that carried life. And even now, within the Milky Way, change is constant. New stars are forming, old ones are dying. Clouds of gas are collapsing into new suns while others are torn apart by stellar winds. The spiral is never static. It is not a sculpture but a process. It does not stop to rest. It does not pause to look back. It continues always in slow motion, too vast for human lifetimes, but no less real. The Earth has circled the Sun billions of times. The Sun, in turn, has circled the galaxy perhaps 20 times since its birth. Just 20 galactic years. Imagine that. All of human history, every language, every song, every step has unfolded during a single breath of the Milky Way. The spiral has barely turned, and yet it carries us forward always. There is something comforting in this scale, something calming in the knowledge that we are part of something so slow, so vast, so enduring. The spiral does not rush. It does not worry. It moves with the grace of gravity and time, with the wisdom of cycles and the patience of stars. And we, though fleeting, though small, are woven into that motion. Every breath we take is aligned with a curve drawn by the galaxy itself. And if you ever find yourself beneath a truly dark sky, far from cities, far from noise, you might see the Milky Way stretch across the heavens like a ribbon of mist. That is your spiral. That is your galaxy. That is the great breath that holds your home. And in that moment you may feel it, the curve beneath your feet, the turning of the stars, the slow drift of the arms. You may feel the pulse of something larger than yourself, not cold, not distant, but deeply familiar. For the spiral is not only out there, it is also within. In the coil of DNA, in the pattern of weather, in the swirl of galaxies inside galaxies, it repeats, it remembers, it breathes. And when your life slows, when your thoughts soften at the end of a long day, you may sense it again, the quiet spinning of the stars, the gentle turning of time, the breath of the dark made visible through light. The spiral continues and you with it. So rest now in that rhythm. Let the arms of the galaxy cradle your dreams. Let the unseen halo hold you. Let the stars sing their softest songs across your night. For the spiral breathes. And you are part of its breath. There are places in the universe where light cannot go, where sound has no air to carry it, and yet something deeper still echoes, not through vibration but through gravity itself. These are black holes, regions so dense, so collapsed upon themselves that not even light can escape their pull. And though they are silent, though they reveal nothing of what lies within, they hum a song, a low, slow murmur written not in notes, but in warps and waves, in time and space folded together like silk in the dark. Imagine drifting near the edge of one. There is no wall, no sharp boundary, only a threshold called the event horizon. It is the point of no return, the place where escape becomes impossible. From outside, you might see matter spiraling in, drawn ever closer by the pull of gravity. But what lies beyond is hidden, not by distance or darkness, but by the very nature of space itself. Black holes are not emptiness. They are fullness taken to the edge of comprehension. They begin quietly. Most are born from the death of massive stars, those that burn bright and fast, using up their fuel in just a few million years. When the fuel runs out, the core collapses under its own weight. For some, this collapse stops at a neutron star, a dense sphere of atomic nuclei packed tighter than anything else known. But if the mass is great enough, the collapse continues, beyond atoms, beyond particles, until the core becomes a singularity, a point of infinite density, wrapped in a cloak of invisible gravity, a black hole. But this is not the end of the story. It is a beginning, because black holes, though invisible, are not isolated. They shape everything around them. They bend light, stretch time, sculpt space. They are not just destinations. They are composers conducting the quiet music of motion and change. Around many black holes, you'll find an accretion disk, a swirling platter of gas and dust, heated to extreme temperatures as it spirals inward. This disk glows brilliantly in X-rays, its outer edges flickering like the rim of a candle flame. And as material falls inward, it accelerates, whirling at nearly the speed of light, releasing energy that can outshine entire galaxies. From silence, brilliance. From collapse, creation. Sometimes, black holes launch jets, narrow beams of particles and light that shoot out from their poles, extending for thousands of light years into space. These jets do not emerge from inside the black hole, but from the chaos just outside it, where magnetic fields twist and snap, channeling matter outward in focused streams. It is one of the great ironies of black holes. They trap everything that crosses their horizon, yet the space around them can be the most luminous, most violent, most astonishing region in the cosmos. And they do not just bend light, they bend time. Near a black hole, time slows not metaphorically but truly. A clock placed near the event horizon ticks more slowly than one far away. This is not an illusion. It is the warping of spacetime as described by Einstein's theory of general relativity. If you could hover just outside the event horizon, you might watch the entire future of the universe unfold in a single blink. You would not age. You would fall into eternity. But you cannot hover there. The gravity is too strong, the pull too relentless. Once crossed, the horizon allows no return. Not even information escapes. This is the mystery that troubles physicists. Where does the information go? If something falls in a book, a planet, a star, is its structure lost forever? Or does the black hole remember in some hidden way? This is called the information paradox, and it remains one of the deepest unsolved puzzles in physics. And yet, despite their silence, black holes speak. Not in light or sound, but in waves, gravitational waves. When two black holes spiral toward each other and merge, they send ripples through the fabric of spacetime itself. These waves travel across the cosmos, stretching and squeezing everything they pass through, ever so slightly. In 2015, we detected them for the first time, using instruments sensitive enough to measure changes smaller than the width of an atom. We heard for the first time the hum of black holes colliding, not a roar, a whisper, a note struck in the deepest key. This was not sound in the traditional sense. There is no air in space to carry vibration. But the waves could be translated, their frequencies turned into audible tones. And when we listened, what we heard was a rising chirp like the final moments of a song. Two black holes spinning inward, faster and faster, merging in silence, then ringing like a struck bell. A silent song made real by gravity. There are other kinds of black holes, too. Some are small, just a few times the mass of the sun. Others are monsters, supermassive black holes, millions or billions of times heavier, sitting at the hearts of galaxies. Our own galaxy has one, nestled quietly at the center, its presence betrayed only by the stars that dance around it, caught in tight, fast orbits. These giants shape the galaxies that surround them. They may even control star formation, sending out energy that heats gas, slows collapse, regulates the flow of cosmic birth. They do not destroy galaxies, they help them grow. And still they remain invisible. Their edges glow, their disks burn, their jets flash, but the black hole itself is a shadow. In 2019, we captured the first image of one, or rather, the first image of its silhouette. A ring of orange light curved around a dark circle. The image was not sharp, but it was clear. The darkness was real. The shadow was there. The black hole had shown its face. But even that image was a memory. The light that formed it had traveled for 55 million years from a galaxy called M87. It had bent around the black hole, circled it, escaped it, and found its way to us. That shadow is ancient. That ring is a message. That silence is a song. And so, when you look into the night sky and see the soft band of stars stretching overhead, remember what you cannot see. Behind the brightness, beneath the motion, within the spiral arms, there are songs being sung in silence. Songs that bend time, that move the stars, that hum through the fabric of the universe. Black holes do not need voices. Their gravity is their music. Their shape is their echo. Their silence is their truth. And even if you never hear them, even if you never see them, they are always there, humming softly in the dark. Now let us step closer to the rhythm of these cosmic singers, into the gentle pull of their hidden gravity, where time slows and light bends, and every motion becomes part of a deeper melody. Black holes are not merely endpoints. They are transitions, bridges between what was and what might be. They hum in a key so low it escapes our ears, yet their vibration stretches across the fabric of space itself, like a baseline carried by the bones of the universe. In the regions just outside a black hole's event horizon, known as the ergosphere and rotating black holes, matter and energy move in strange and beautiful ways. Nothing is still here. Space itself is dragged along with the spinning mass, twisted like honey around a spoon. This effect, called frame dragging, means that nothing can remain motionless. Even light is pulled along. And in this twist of space, energy can be extracted, a theoretical process known as the Penrose mechanism, where a particle enters, splits, and one half escapes with more energy than it had before. It is as if the black hole lends a breath of itself, a gift from its spin. Farther out in the chaotic brilliance of the accretion disk, matter fights gravity in a spiraling ballet. The gas glows hotter the closer it falls, from thousands to millions of degrees, emitting X-rays and gamma rays, the most energetic light we know. Here, atoms are torn apart and electrons swirl in magnetic fields so strong they shape the paths of particles. Yet amid this chaos, order emerges. Patterns form. Jets align. Timing pulses repeat with surprising regularity. Some black holes blink like lighthouses, their light modulated by orbiting gas or by hot spots flaring as they whirl around the edge. These periodic pulses, quasi-periodic oscillations, may be the closest thing we have to hearing a black hole's heartbeat. They are not sound but structure, repetition, and in their timing we find clues to the mass and spin of the black hole, to the shape of space near its edge, to the hidden rules of the gravity that governs all. Black holes also hold time in their sway. Near them, time flows slower, a reality confirmed by both theory and observation. To an outside observer, a clock falling toward a black hole appears to slow down, tick by tick, until it seems to freeze at the horizon. But to the object itself, time continues as usual. It falls through, unaware of the world watching from afar. In this way, black holes become mirrors not of light but of time. They show us how relative reality can be, how what we feel may differ from what others see. And what happens inside the black hole? We do not know, not truly. Our physics breaks down at the singularity, that infinitely dense point where all the mass collapses. Space and time no longer behave in familiar ways. They are curved into a shape we cannot yet describe. It is possible that the singularity is not a point at all, but a doorway, a loop, a tunnel to another place or time. Some theories suggest that black holes may be connected to white holes, objects that do the opposite, spewing out matter instead of swallowing it. Others imagine wormholes, bridges through spacetime, perhaps passable, perhaps not. But these remain dreams framed in equations. What we know for certain is this: black holes do not vanish, they grow. As matter falls in, their mass increases and so does their pull. Yet they are not insatiable, they do not chase, they simply wait, and sometimes they shrink. In the 1970s, Stephen Hawking proposed that black holes are not entirely black, that they emit a faint glow, now called Hawking radiation, due to quantum effects near the event horizon. This radiation is incredibly weak, but over unimaginable timescales, it means that black holes can evaporate, releasing their energy back into the universe and one day perhaps disappearing entirely. If true, it suggests that even the darkest places in the cosmos are not eternal. They change. They age, they fade. And if black holes can evaporate, what becomes of the information they once held? Does it dissolve with them? Or is it encoded in the Hawking radiation, somehow scrambled but not lost? This is the heart of the black hole information paradox, and it touches on the very nature of reality. Whether the universe destroys information or preserves it, whether memory can ever truly vanish, remains one of the greatest questions in physics. But even without knowing the answer, we feel the resonance. We sense that black holes, though hidden, are part of a larger harmony. They shape galaxies. They balance creation and collapse. They bind matter in motion and inspire questions that stretch the limits of imagination. Astronomers now believe that most large galaxies host supermassive black holes at their centers. These giants, though silent, help orchestrate the behavior of their galactic homes. Their gravity influences the flow of gas, the birth of stars, the shape of the spiral. And in active galaxies, where accretion disks blaze and jets erupt, black holes may shine brighter than anything else in the cosmos, paradoxical beacons made of darkness. And among the quiet stars of the night sky, there may be many more stellar mass black holes left behind by ordinary stars, invisible unless they are feeding. They wait in binaries, pulling matter from companions, flickering in X-ray bursts that betray their presence. Or they drift alone, ghosts of long-dead suns, whispering gravity wherever they go. They are part of the galaxy's breath, part of its unseen structure, part of its pulse. And though they do not speak, they are always communicating, through motion, through timing, through gravity waves that ripple across space. So when you rest beneath the stars, know that somewhere in the direction your eyes cannot reach, there are songs being sung without voice. Songs that fold time, bend space, cradle light. Black holes do not demand attention. They do not sparkle. They do not shout, but their presence is profound. Their silence is not emptiness. It is music made of space itself. And in the hush of night, you may just feel it, the soft hum of gravity, the pull of curiosity, the breath of something deeper than understanding. A song that only the quiet can hear. Let us now descend softly into the final chapter of this dark and luminous tale, where the silence of black holes is not absence but presence held in stillness. These aren't monsters lurking in the void, they are memory's vaults, gravity's anchors, the softest footsteps of time upon the floor of space. Black holes do not destroy meaning. They deepen it. They remind us that even in what is unseen, even in what seems final, there is continuation of energy, of rhythm, of connection. Think of all the things a black hole holds. Not just mass, but the imprints of stars that once lived, burned, and died. The echoes of galaxies colliding, of gas swirling, of radiation soaring outward from the chaos at the edge. The memory of motion, caught in orbits and jets and pulses. And though we cannot see inside, we can feel their influence across thousands, even millions of light years, shaping space, bending paths, guiding matter through the galaxy like currents guide drifting leaves in a still forest pond. Even their quietest acts speak volumes. When a black hole passes through a cloud of gas, it leaves behind a wake, a distortion, a signature. When it dances with a companion star, it pulls gently, drawing matter into its orbit. And sometimes, if the companion gets too close, it is torn apart, its outer layers siphoned into a glowing spiral. This is not violence. This is physics, gravity doing what it always does, binding, balancing, breathing. Some black holes wander alone, moving silently through space, remnants of stars that long ago collapsed in distant corners of the galaxy. They do not shine. They do not roar, but their gravity still whispers. They pass through clouds, through halos, through arms of spiral galaxies, leaving their mark not in light but in shadow. These are the unseen travelers, the drifters of the cosmos. Others are destined to meet. Two black holes born from separate stars may eventually spiral toward one another, drawing closer over eons until they merge. The final moments happen quickly, releasing gravitational waves, ripples in space-time that we can now detect here on Earth. And in those ripples, in that brief chirp recorded by our instruments, is the story of that union. We do not see it with eyes. We feel it with space-time itself. It is the most profound kind of knowing, a silent event told through the stretching of reality. And there are places where we believe supermassive black holes may have shaped entire galaxies. Their early formation remains a mystery, how they grew so large, so fast in the infant universe. Some may have formed from the direct collapse of massive gas clouds, others from the merger of smaller black holes, steadily building into giants. But however they formed, their gravity now orchestrates the motion of billions of stars. Their jets may have heated interstellar gas, regulating star formation across entire regions. They are not separate from the galaxy, they are part of its mind, its heart. We sometimes imagine black holes as endings, the final chapter in a star's life, the last page of a story. But perhaps they are more like commas, pauses in the sentence of space. Matter and energy do not vanish. They transform. The atoms pulled into a black hole were once part of something, a cloud, a flame, a planet, a breath. And though they cross a horizon we cannot follow, they do not leave the universe. They remain within it, folded inward. The idea that black holes may one day evaporate through Hawking radiation suggests that even these great silencers are not forever. They whisper themselves away, particle by particle, until the last tremor fades and the dark becomes light again. If true, this means that black holes are like all things, changing, impermanent, part of the great cosmic tide. And if they do fade, where does their information go? Some believe it is imprinted on the event horizon itself, encoded in a subtle layer that holds all the data of what has passed through. Others imagine that when black holes die, they leave behind relics, quantum ghosts that carry their secrets forward. We don't yet know, but the questions they raise are as important as the answers. Black holes stretch our understanding not because of what they show, but because of what they hide. They are the edges of knowledge, the places where the map ends and the mystery begins. Even culturally, black holes resonate. They appear in dreams, in metaphors, in art. They represent depth, gravity, obsession, transformation. We speak of falling into them, into love, into thought, into silence. We use them to name the unnameable, to describe what lies beyond reach. And yet, in truth, they are not abstractions. They are real. They exist in the sky. And we are made of the same universe that made them. So tonight, as the stars bloom above you, know that somewhere out there a black hole turns. Quietly, perfectly. Its gravity shaping paths you cannot see, its presence marking a space you cannot touch. And in that place, far from here, a story continues, written not in pages but in curves, not in light but in the absence of it. And you, your breath, your bones, your thoughts drifting toward rest are held in the same cosmos, pulled by the same forces, touched by the same silence. For in the universe, there is music even in what cannot be heard. And the black holes hum it still. Between the stars, there is a silence so deep it feels endless, a vast ocean of darkness where no suns burn, no planets shine, and no voices echo. Yet even here in the quietest parts of the cosmos, light still moves, faint, cold, ancient. It is not the warm, golden glow of a nearby star, nor the fierce flash of a supernova. It is something subtler, softer than moonlight, quieter than dusk. It is the cold light between the stars, and it fills more of the universe than anything else we know. This light does not flicker or blaze. It is steady, background, constant. Scientists call it the cosmic microwave background, a glow left over from the beginning of time, from when the universe was only a baby. It was once hot, a fireball of energy and matter packed close together. But as space stretched, the light cooled, its waves growing longer, shifting from heat to faint microwave radiation. Today, it fills the sky in every direction, invisible to the eye but always present, like the breath of the cosmos itself. If you could tune your vision to microwaves, the night sky would no longer be black. It would shimmer with this ancient glow, a map of the universe just as it began to open. And this cold light carries stories, not written in words or pictures but in temperature. Tiny variations in its warmth, just a few millionths of a degree, reveal the seeds of galaxies, the first wrinkles in space, the blueprint for everything that followed. These subtle patterns, stretched across the entire sky, tell us how matter clumped, how stars were born, how the structure of the cosmos unfolded. But the cosmic background is not the only light that moves through darkness. There are others, fainter still, drifting like dust in moonlight. Between galaxies far from any sun, photons still travel. Some are the scattered light of distant stars, diffused across space by dust and time. Others are echoes of ancient collisions, of galaxies brushing past, their stars flung wide. Some are the dying embers of quasars that once blazed like lighthouses in the young universe. All of it adds to a soft, glowing sea, the extragalactic background light, a pale whisper of the light that has ever been emitted. These photons do not dazzle. They accumulate. They create a quiet brightness that lies just beneath blackness, just enough to remind us that space is never truly empty. That light never truly stops. Even in the loneliest reaches between galaxy clusters, beyond the stars, something still glows. This light touches us, even if we don't see it. It strikes the upper layers of our atmosphere, warms the dust in interstellar space, and dances softly on the mirrors of telescopes that gaze into the night. And from it, scientists can measure the number of stars in distant galaxies, the rate of expansion of the universe, the history of light itself. Every photon, though faint, contributes to the great cosmic record, a ledger of energy written slowly, gently, over billions of years. And then there is starlight itself, traveling for thousands or millions of years, only to pass unnoticed between the stars. A beam may leave its home and drift through space forever, never striking a planet, never reaching an eye. It moves not with urgency but with patience. It does not seek attention. It only continues. Some of this starlight is stretched as it travels, its wavelength lengthened by the expansion of the universe. This redshift turns visible light into infrared, then microwave, then radio. It cools as it moves, becoming more distant, more diffuse. And yet it remains. The universe does not forget. The light that left a star before Earth was born may still be crossing the void, cold and quiet, waiting to touch something, anything, that will receive it. Between the stars also lies the interstellar medium, a thin spread of gas and dust, too diffused to be called a cloud, yet enough to shape light's path. It absorbs some wavelengths, scatters others, leaving fingerprints on the starlight that reaches us. It is in these patterns that we learn what exists in the dark, what atoms float where, what molecules dance in shadow. And then there is the faintest glow of all, the 21-centimeter line, a whisper from neutral hydrogen, the most common element in the universe. This radiation is so subtle it took decades to detect, yet it maps the structure of galaxies. It shows us where gas gathers, where stars might one day be born. It is cold light, yes, but it is also life's beginning. Even the darkness between galaxies is not empty. There is hot gas, faint plasma, and filaments of matter too dim to see. This warm-hot intergalactic medium, WIM, as astronomers call it, connects galaxy clusters like threads in a web. Though barely luminous, it carries mass, motion, memory. Light passes through it, shaped ever so slightly, revealing the scaffolding of the universe. So the space between stars is not a void. It is a page, a slow story told not in sentences but in photons drifting quietly through time. It is where the echoes of light wait to be heard, where the history of starlight continues long after its source has dimmed, where cold does not mean lifeless, only patient. You too are touched by this light. It enters your eyes, warms your skin, is absorbed by your bones, and in every breath you exchange particles born in the hearts of stars, now cooled and drifting between worlds. You are not outside this sea. You are within it, floating, breathing, glowing quietly. So the next time you stand beneath the stars and think of the dark between them, know that it is not dark at all. It is filled with light too soft to see, light that has been traveling since before time had shape, light that has never stopped, that never will. It is the light that waits, the light that remembers, the cold light between the stars. Let us now move further into the quiet sea of space, beyond the shimmer of stars and the gravity of galaxies, where the cold light continues its endless drift. It does not pulse or flicker. It does not dance or dazzle. It only persists steady and soft, flowing through the emptiness with the calm certainty of time itself. This light is not forgotten. It is the background glow of everything that has ever happened, every star that has ever shone, every atom that has ever moved. It is the memory of the cosmos, stretched thin and scattered wide. There are no suns here to warm the void, no planets casting shadows, only the faint afterglow of ancient energies drifting quietly across the black. And yet these photons, these tiny packets of light, carry meaning. They are messengers from moments long past. Some left their source billions of years ago, from stars that no longer burn, from galaxies that no longer shine. Others are even older, born not in stars but in the first breath of the universe, when space itself expanded like a wave across a still pond. Astronomers use special instruments to listen to this quiet light. Not telescopes of glass, but dishes and detectors that gather microwaves and radio waves, signals too faint to see, but rich with information. From these signals, they draw maps of the early universe, revealing not just where light once gathered, but how matter moved, how space curled, how the structure of everything began to take form. They read these patterns like archaeologists brushing away layers of dust, not on Earth, but across spacetime itself. Some of this light travels through what we call voids, immense regions of space with almost no galaxies, no stars, no visible matter. These voids are not truly empty, but they are vast and quiet, stretching across hundreds of millions of light years with only the faintest whispers of gas and dark matter. As light crosses these regions, it is not lost. It is shaped, stretched. Its path bends subtly. And through these changes, we learn what lies hidden. The weight of the universe, the shape of the dark, the nature of space when nothing stirs. Between galaxies, a diffuse fog of hydrogen and helium gas fills the spaces like an invisible atmosphere. Occasionally, this gas absorbs passing light, leaving dark lines in a star's spectrum. These absorption lines form a kind of barcode, a record of the light's journey, a diary of the distances crossed. With them, we can trace where the light has been, how the universe has changed, how matter flows from one place to another. Some of this matter forms filaments, long threads of gas and galaxies that stretch across the universe like the veins of a leaf. This cosmic web connects everything: galaxies, clusters, clouds, and emptiness. It is held together not by ropes or beams, but by gravity, by dark matter, by the subtle pull of unseen mass. Light weaves through this web, highlighting its curves, illuminating its edges. We see only the brightest parts, the nodes where galaxies gather, but the web itself glows faintly, with a light older than any story we know. This light also touches dust, tiny grains scattered across space, remnants of dying stars and shattered asteroids. Dust absorbs light, scatters it, changes its color and shape. Some of the coldest dust in the universe emits its own light in the far infrared, a faint warmth barely above absolute zero. These emissions reveal the hidden architecture of galaxies, the birthplaces of stars, the nurseries of planets, the echoes of things too quiet to see. Even within our own galaxy, between the stars of the Milky Way, this cold light plays softly. Infrared telescopes have uncovered vast, curling tendrils of gas and dust, glowing not with heat but with the gentle light of scattered starlight. These clouds are often invisible in visible light, obscured by their own density, but in the far infrared they come alive, revealing currents, waves, and flows that shape the future of star formation. And then there are the neutrinos, ghostly particles born in the hearts of stars and in the first moments of the Big Bang. They, too, travel through the dark, passing effortlessly through gas, dust, even through planets and people. They are part of this cold light, not electromagnetic, but still a kind of glow, a flow of information that fills the universe as thoroughly as light itself. The farther back we look, the colder the light becomes. The older the photon, the more stretched it is by the expanding fabric of space. What began as brilliant ultraviolet from a young galaxy becomes a warm glow in the infrared. What was once a burst becomes a whisper, but that whisper holds everything: distance, direction, history. And as space continues to stretch, the light grows colder still, not dying, just relaxing, resting, becoming part of the background hum. Even our own sun contributes to this quiet chorus. When its light leaves Earth, it does not simply end. It continues, spreading out, cooling slowly, adding its warmth to the sea of photons that surrounds our solar system. Some of those rays will travel forever. Others may strike the surface of an icy moon, be reflected, absorbed, re-emitted. The journey continues. And when we speak of the cold light between the stars, we are not just talking about distant things. We are speaking of a presence that is around us, always soft, invisible, ancient. It passes through walls, through eyes, through thoughts. It is not felt as heat or seen as brightness. It is felt in silence. It is seen in the way darkness never feels completely empty. So when you sit in the dark and feel the weight of night, know that you are not alone. The cold light is there, flowing gently through your skin, resting softly on your clothes, passing without sound across your dreams. It is the breath of everything that has ever shined, the light of stars that died before Earth had oceans, the echo of galaxies that have long since scattered. And still it moves, patient, eternal, unafraid. Now let us wander to the final horizon of this quiet light, the edge of perception where the universe leans into memory, and darkness holds the last glimmer of every star that ever was. The cold light between the stars does not vanish. It continues. Even as galaxies drift apart, as stars grow old, as time slows into silence, the light remains stretched, softened, almost still, but never gone. In this dim glow, we find the universe not in motion but in reflection. Over billions of years, light scatters. It weaves its way through dust, wraps around gravity wells, and threads the needle of space itself. Some of this light takes the long route, bending near massive clusters of galaxies, magnified by gravity into arcs and loops. This gravitational lensing reveals not just the sources behind the lens, but the invisible mass in front. It allows us to see what otherwise would be hidden, a kind of echo vision, light shaped by presence we cannot touch. Through this technique, we uncover the cold maps of dark matter, which emits no light of its own, yet sculpts the flow of galaxies and the paths of photons. The farthest galaxies we can see are visible not because they shine brightly now, but because their ancient light has only just arrived. That light began its journey when the universe was young, when no planets had yet cooled enough for oceans, when even the stars were still learning how to burn. And as this light traveled, the universe expanded beneath it, stretching its wavelength until it became a whisper, no longer visible, but still true. Each of these faint rays carries a time capsule, a snapshot of a moment before time felt long. Eventually, even these photons will become so stretched, so diffused by the expanding cosmos that they may carry no energy we can detect. They will become background not just to stars but to existence itself. And yet they will still be there. Because light, once born, does not choose to stop. It carries on, forever searching for a surface to rest upon, a receiver to listen, an eye to meet. The end of the universe, as some predict, may be cold and quiet, a long dusk where stars no longer form, black holes have evaporated, and everything that once shone has faded into near nothing. This is called the heat death, a state not of burning but of balance, where all energy has spread evenly and nothing more can happen. In this final stillness, the only light will be the coldest light, stretched to infinity, drifting without destination. But even in this final chapter, light will tell its story. It will carry, in its length and motion, the tale of every flame, every birth, every movement that once stirred the stars. It will not be forgotten, even if no one remains to remember it. For the universe does not need an observer to be true. Its silence is not lonely. It is complete. And long before that future comes, here and now, we are wrapped in that light. Our bodies absorb it, our instruments read it, our thoughts chase it. We are creatures born in the warmth of a star, standing in a pool of ancient glow. We are not separate from the cold light between the stars. We are immersed in it. We are shaped by it. We are its temporary containers, holding it for a while before releasing it again. Even in art, in music, in dreams, this light finds form. We speak of starlight as romance, of darkness as rest. We build telescopes to catch the faintest glimmer, and we send out our own messages, radio waves, pulses, encoded memories. In this way, we join the cold light, contributing to the ocean of photons that move without haste, without end. When you close your eyes beneath a sky without clouds, remember that what you see as darkness is not empty. It is full of messages, not loud ones, not urgent, but real. A photon that left a galaxy a billion years ago may fall onto your eyelid, gentle as ash. A beam from a star that no longer exists may brush your shoulder as you sleep. The space between things is never just space. It is story. It is motion. It is light, simply quiet. And even the coldest light can warm the heart. It reminds us that distance does not erase connection. That time does not undo memory. That silence is not the opposite of meaning, it is its vessel. The cold light between the stars teaches patience. It teaches presence. It teaches the beauty of things that do not rush, do not demand, but simply continue. And so we drift with it, breathing beneath the stars, hearing nothing, yet touched by everything. Our own thoughts become light in time, warm now, but cooling, stretching, becoming part of the cosmic song. We are both the senders and the receivers, both the echoes and the origin. Our light, too, will one day be cold, but it will still be light. For the universe is not made of flame alone. It is made of memory, of motion, of every photon that never turned back. And the cold light will keep drifting on,